Welcome to the FullyCrypto Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the FullyCrypto Podcast, your home of quality cryptocurrency and blockchain news, reviews, opinion and more. My name is Mark Hunter and I'm joined by the man who dumps even more than XRP. It's Alex Mears.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm alright, thanks mate, I'm alright. It's been weird not having any podcasts for a couple of weeks. Various things have kept us away, but we're back.
Yeah, it's been too long. I mean, we both got sick, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And in that time since we've been away, Bitcoin has, I say, crept. It's blasted over 16,000, which I'm assuming you're thrilled about.
No, I'm very disappointed, actually, to be honest.
I thought you might say that. So what's your story then?
It got to 15.8, and I thought, you know what, it can't go anymore. So I sold everything, waiting for the dip, and I was going to rebuy in the dip, but that dip is yet to come.
Yeah.
And how's it treating you?
Well, I did the same. I've been buying and selling. I always told myself I wouldn't do it, but I just could not see. After the weeks, 4 or 5 green weeks in a row, after that crazy run since March, I thought we must be kind of topping out soon.
Yeah.
I think I sold at sort of 15,800 in the end. I didn't make a lot because I left it too long to buy. Obviously, at some point, there will be the 30 to 40% correction that there always is after these runs, but I would have expected it by now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in the same boat as you there. I know the dip is coming. It's got to come. It can't carry on. I mean, if this is the peak of it, if this is the next 2017 and this is as high as it goes, I'd rather take what I did and wait rather than FOMO out and buy now and then it dips tomorrow morning.
People aren't FOMOing into this. The retail aren't buying this. This is just going up through, I don't know who's pushing it up. It's not in the media. The run it's had has not been fueled by anything external. So I kind of think that must mean that there's not much juice left in the tank. But it just keeps grinding away, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and that's the biggest reason I sold, because there's nobody saying, oh, this is amazing, or this has happened, let's buy more. It's just going up. It's almost like this PayPal stuff is real Bitcoin.
Exactly, I know. Yeah, so we'll see where it ends up this time next week. I think we could be discussing a very different Bitcoin price this time next week. But we'll start with Cred, which is a company that I personally wasn't aware of. I don't know about if you'd heard of them before, but before everything blew up this week, I hadn't heard of them. But they were a crypto banking firm. Is that pretty much what they did? Banking, loans and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I suppose it's a bit like DeFi, isn't it? Just with a bit more centralization. It's like blockchain banking, I guess, if you will.
Blockchain banking.
Yeah.
So on Sunday, they came out with a very interesting tweet that quickly kind of caught some attention. And I know you caught this one first early in the week before the sort of bigger developments happened later on in the week that I picked up on. So why don't you start by explaining what you noticed on Sunday and what you made of it?
Yeah, I was just trolling through good old crypto Twitter, and the lovely Cred posted a really suspicious tweet. It was along the lines of, we're cooperating with law enforcement to see what's happened. We're going to make sure that no client or personal data has gone missing. And, once you've been doing this for long enough, that sort of sets off those spidey senses, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. You know that there's something more to it. Mm-hmm. So I reached out, I sent them a message. I was like, hey, you've posted this statement, but what about client funds? Because at the time, their website was just littered with, yes, we have insurance from this company, and all user funds are always secured and safe. But not once in the communications had they mentioned funds. Not what's going to happen to them, anything. They were just cooperating with law enforcement. Anyway, it turns out they have this platform called Cred Earn, where basically you deposit like 6 Bitcoin in, and then they lend it out to other companies, and they invest it into these other companies. And you get interest, obviously, back in on that. And I think you invest for 6 months at a time. After 6 months, you get all your money back. Mm-hmm. And they claim it's with money managers that have well-established records. And as it turns out, they had some balance sheet irregularities, or so they claim. But those date back in 2019, mid-2019. And it's just gone poof. The money's just vanished. They've only just noticed now during an audit, and they literally don't have anybody's money.
The fact that they didn't even, I mean, maybe they couldn't acknowledge the reason why, but the fact they came straight out and were like, everything's fine. Well, no one said it wasn't. No, I know, but everything's fine. It was so suspicious.
Yeah, exactly. And they said that you're not going to hear anything for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They just said, okay, this is all you're having. We're investigating. Your personal data is safe. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Like, it just felt weird on the day.
Yeah, like it seems like any effort for anyone to communicate with them was just met with that same response of, you've just got to wait, which is unbelievable.
I reached out to them. A few other people did as well, and they posted their replies. And it was just very much a cut and paste answer. Like, this is all there is right now. We'll tell you all. We'll give you an update in 2 weeks. But, I mean, everything's already come out.
Yeah, it didn't take 2 weeks at all. They filed for bankruptcy on a Saturday night, I think. Reminds me of Lehman Brothers. And then it all came out in the bankruptcy filing. The hideous way that they had managed their users' money was all sort of came out.
Yeah.
Essentially, the key findings or the key reasons why they're in such a mess that they are, they took the customer fund deposits and they loaned them out to a loan shark at 15% interest, as well as investing in hedge funds that apparently had no due diligence done whatsoever. So they had claimed previously that I'm assuming that in their investment thesis, they claimed that they were, carefully selected, hand-picked, investment firms, hedge funds, this sort of thing.
Yeah.
It seems that actually it was nothing of the sort, and that's where some of the money is gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, their exact words were retail borrowers and money managers with well-established records.
Yeah, wow.
That was their exact phrase they used on their site.
Whatever these hedge funds had done in the past was completely undone in March this year, when obviously every traditional market and equity market crashed in that point in March, including Bitcoin fell by 50-odd% in a day.
Yeah.
That killed half of these hedge funds that weren't prepared for it. So that's loads of the Cred money going already. So in order to try and get themselves back in the black, at least temporarily, they went back to the same loan shark and borrowed, presumably at a similar rate of interest that they were lending to him.
Yeah, if not more.
Yeah, so not only did they go back and borrow money off this loan shark, but one of the senior managers stole, was it $3 million worth he stole? Something along those lines?
Yeah, it was a big amount.
He managed to siphon this off along the way whilst maintaining records. So Cred assumed that they had all this money. So when Bitcoin and the whole ecosystem did really well in October, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When it was booming in October, they were like, oh, things are great, things are fantastic. And then at some point in October, when they had this audit, it must have been then, they realised actually what we've got on paper, we don't own any of it.
Yeah, it was James Alexander, wasn't it? The chief capital officer.
That's it.
I mean, fair play to the lad. I mean, he managed to nick 3 million in Bitcoin without anybody noticing. I mean, that's a fair effort.
I'm not sure that you should give him praise for that, especially if there's any Cred users listening that have lost money.
Yeah, I'm sorry for anyone who lost money, but I mean, to steal 3 million and nobody noticed, either you're amazing at stealing money or just no one else at the company gives a crap what's going on.
I'm assuming there's no oversight. He basically said, yeah, it's coming through, siphoned it off and just wrote on a bit of paper what he said they had.
He cooked the books, didn't he?
Completely. So the whole platform has collapsed and they owe customers, I'm not sure if it's all creditors, but they owe at least, all creditors, including users, $140 something million they're in the hole for. And if the user funds are safe, that's the first thing they say. So,
exactly. I mean, like, remember when Binance got hacked?
Yeah.
CZ was like, oh yeah, funds are SAFU. That was the thing he focused on, was client funds are safe.
Yeah.
He was like, it's okay, we got hacked, fair enough, but all your money's safe, it's fine.
And that's become kind of a mantra. I think a lot of companies, a lot of crypto projects have learned that if you want to keep users on side, and something happens, as long as those funds are safe, that's what you should lead with pretty much. A company doesn't have to say funds are lost. If they don't say funds are safe, people straight away start to worry. And they haven't said this. And there is something on It's not on the Cred website. It's a separate website. On the day that they filed for bankruptcy, there's a separate website that was set up with an FAQ. And as usual, it was all the standard evasive answers about we can't comment this, we can't comment that, bankruptcy, blah, blah, blah. And they even had a couple of questions, are user funds safe? And it pretty much said you need to refer to the Chapter 11 bankruptcy, policies and procedures document to tell you if they're safe, which basically means no. The company is completely broke.
Yeah, it's just a long way of saying no. We've stolen all your money. Cheers for it. We had a nice dinner.
The only value left in the company is any office they have and the furniture and computing equipment in that office. Everything else is gone. Unless you can find some way of starting a private litigation, but even then it's going to be a token gesture because there's no money left.
Exactly, it'll be like Counting House where it's just gone.
If this guy has still got this 3 million in Bitcoin, I guess he can be sued like in a civil suit, can't he? And that money can be retrieved. I'm assuming it's been frozen and it can be retrieved.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with all the KYC on exchanges, he's not going to be able to cash that out whatsoever.
No, they're going to jump on that.
So I expect that as soon as that moves, unless it's already gone, that's the only thing. If he's already cashed it out, if he's already mixed it, there's going to be no trace of it.
If he was sensible, he would have mixed it straight away, but not cashed it out yet, because that's where it leaves the trail.
Yeah.
If he's got any nous whatsoever, he will obscure the origins and he'll leave it for some time and then find a way to slyly kind of get it off, not through a centralized exchange.
If he's already mixed it, then it could just be sat in a wallet.
Yeah.
No one would know.
No, that's true.
I mean, he could do his jail sentence. What's he going to get? A couple of years, probably, max. Let's face it. I mean, just cooking the books. You're not going to jail for life for that, are you? Wait a couple of years, just move his Bitcoin around. He's fine.
Can the court not order him to reveal where the funds are?
This is similar to the Craig Wright issue. The courts could order you to do it, but it's like saying, did you eat toast or beans for breakfast? They've got no way of physically proving what you say is true. I mean, okay, they could, hold you with perjury, but unless they siphon through everybody's waste in the city, they're not going to know. So he could say whatever. He could be like, no, I don't have it. Sorry. And unless you can physically prove that wrong, nothing's going to happen.
I'm not sure how it all works because everyone knows he's got the money, and surely then the courts have to say, right, we know you've got the money, you know you've got the money. If you don't tell us where it is, you're going to jail. Not exactly, but
Yeah, well, I think that's what they have to do. They have to make him so afraid that he gives it up.
Yeah, they should do.
They have to offer him a deal, I think. Say, okay, fine, we know you've got the money. If you give it to us or tell us where it is, we'll cut your sentence down by half. Otherwise, he's not going to do it. I had something, it wasn't something similar, but it was along the same lines myself. An exchange I'm using, they said, does this wallet belong to you? Prove to us this wallet is or isn't yours. And it wasn't my wallet at the end of the day, but, the onus is on you to prove it, whether it is or isn't yours. I mean, if it's not yours, how do you prove it's not? Like, you just have to say and they have to trust you. Because, I mean, even if it was, I could have just said, no, it's not mine. And they would have to take that for gospel. So I think, it's along the same lines. Whatever he says, they're going to have to trust to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So I think, he could always play this card. If he's a smart cookie, if he's been planning this for months and months, he'd already siphoned it off, mixed it, cleaned it up. And he's going to have it scattered around in small amounts. It's not going to raise any suspicion. He's probably spread out into maybe 20 different wallets with, say, 700k in each or so. No one's going to notice that. It's relatively small for a big Bitcoin wallet. I mean, it can easily pass under the radar. So if he has done his homework and he has planned, and they say, oh, where's the Bitcoin? Do you have it still? He could just say no, and it'll be very difficult to disprove. So he could end up, I suppose he could end up walking away. Depends how he spins his story. If he says, oh, I got hacked or I got scammed while investing it.
Yeah.
He might get off the hook completely and then just be like, you know what, fair enough.
You're listening to the FullyCrypto Podcast.
Talking of wallets and wallet moves and that sort of thing, the other big story that broke while we've been away was the 69,000 Bitcoin move that took place last week. And it turns out that it was the US Treasury that took custody of it, and it's all come from a Silk Road hacker.
Yeah, I think this is rather interesting because it's a transaction that's been it's been doing the rounds in the crypto social media, hasn't it? Where people have been speculating who it is, what it is, what they're buying, why they're moving it.
The only thing we knew is that it was the fourth biggest Bitcoin wallet in existence, and it hadn't been touched really. The bulk of it hadn't been touched since all the Bitcoin first came there in 2013, and that was what people were surprised about, because this wallet had been doing the rounds in hacker forums. It was a real prized wallet for hackers to try and get into. So when it turned out that all this money suddenly sort of moved in one go from one wallet to a brand new one, there was obviously all sorts of theories as to what it might be. Do you remember what some of them were?
I think people just thought it was whales just changing wallets. That was a couple I read. I mean, I didn't read anything too out there.
I think that was what I thought it was. That was my initial thing, was that I thought that the guy who owned this had got so fed up with people trying to hack into it that, yeah, like you say, he'd moved it to a new wallet with better security.
Yeah.
But there were some that said that the wallet had been hacked itself. Obviously, it has been a target for some time, and it was finally hacked, and people had moved the funds over. But no one could be absolutely sure. The one thing we were sure at the time it moved was that it wasn't for a sale, because none of it went to an exchange. You'd have thought if someone was cashing out at this point, they would, maybe move most of it, but they'd send a little bit to an exchange to sell. But the whole lot moved in one go. And then, yeah, very interesting. A few days later, it turned out that it was the US Treasury that actually were taking hold of it, because the money itself, it came from the Silk Road wallet, and it had been hacked from a guy had hacked the Silk Road website in 2012 and 2013, and had taken all this money from Ross Ulbricht and from Silk Road. And apparently, according to the record of this investigation from the Treasury and the IRS, Ross Ulbricht actually knew who the guy was. At the time of the hack, they reckon he knew who it was, and he threatened the guy and then tried to bribe the guy to give it back to him, to send it back. But the guy was like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, he was like, no, I'm not sending it back. You've had it. I'm keeping it, thanks. And so he kept it. And obviously, not long after, Ross Ulbricht got arrested, and this guy watched his life go up in smoke.
Yeah.
And then held on to it for all this time. And you would have thought that after all that time, no one's really that bothered. It happened all that time ago. He's sitting on the Bitcoin, he's not moving it, and that was that. But in the meantime, there had been an investigation started by the IRS. I don't know why they suddenly started to focus on this, or whether they were always focusing on it and got a lucky break, I'm not sure. Yeah. But they worked with Chainalysis, and they managed to personally identify the holder, and track him down to an address. They think that one of the reasons why they were able to do it is because he didn't keep all the Bitcoin he hacked. He sent something like 101 Bitcoin he sent to this BTC exchange, which was the same exchange that is accused of laundering a lot of the stolen Mt. Gox Bitcoin.
Okay.
So he sent it in 2015 and cashed it out. But in 2017, the FBI closed BTCE and arrested the founder. And they, obviously, as part of this, got all the information from the exchange, all the user information, the account information, all this stuff. So linking these two together, they worked out that the guy that sold this little bit of Bitcoin is the guy that owned the other 70-odd thousand. So over all this time, yeah, they identified him, and there's no mention of whether they arrested him or went to his house, or there's no record of how they managed to do it. Yeah. But they basically got him to send the US Treasury this Bitcoin, this 69,000 odd Bitcoin. They basically said, look, if you send us the money, we're not going to press charges.
Yeah, I imagine that's what they did. They probably took him in. They made him do it from a little office. Mm-hmm. And once the money was all confirmed, they were like, all right, fine, just don't do this again. Be a good boy. Go away.
Can you even imagine, after all these years, you've got just under $1 billion worth of Bitcoin that's been sitting in his wallet for all these years. What is this guy's plan? Because obviously he didn't have a plan when he stole the money, and it's been sitting there. Suddenly it's worth $1 billion. I'm wondering if he was terrified of what to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine having $1 billion sat in a Bitcoin wallet that you own, that is linked to you because of an exchange you used, and people are trying to hack it, and that must be nerve-wracking.
It must be horrifying. He must have known he was a marked man, because he will have seen. Obviously, he sent the money because he may have thought he was a marked man when he did the hack on Silk Road, but probably thought, you know what, no one's going to investigate this. I think I've got away with it. So he sends that little bit of Bitcoin to get sold. He does that. He probably still thinks he's in the clear. I wonder if in 2017, when the FBI suddenly closes BTC and it's known they're looking at records, he must have shit himself.
Oh, he's probably not slept a night since.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I know I wouldn't have slept a night since.
No, because you can't do anything with it. You can't move it. You can't sell it. It reminds me a bit of Pablo Escobar in his last days. He's in his flat in Medellin. His flat is just piles and piles of cash, millions and millions of dollars that he can't spend.
Yeah.
And it's similar to that. This guy, he couldn't do anything with that money. He probably regrets even taking it, because it's this massive, weight on his shoulders.
Oh, exactly. Can you imagine being a billionaire, but you can't tell anyone, you can't spend it?
Yeah.
It would be horrible, knowing you have that money, but you can't touch it. That is... You know what, to be fair, credit to the guy, he's got some major patience. Hanging on that long without doing anything silly.
He hasn't even tried to sell any covertly or on the sly. It's just sat there. So you think, what is he thinking for all these years? He probably thinks he's better off without it.
Yeah, I guess at that point you sort of have to think, you know what, I stole it for a bit of a joke, maybe a good reason. Yeah. But now it's got a bit out of hand, and I'm a bit ashamed of it, perhaps. Because if you were proud of it, you would have spent it.
Yeah. Exactly.
You would have done stuff. You would have said, I did this. I took $1 billion from Ross LBRY.
He never thought in a million years that, a few years later, he's going to be sitting on $1 billion, and he just can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Assuming that he's not living a life of poverty, he's actually got a job, or he's got some money coming in somehow, and he's affording a living, I'd imagine he feels a massive sense of relief to be shot of it and to have, it seems like, no repercussions.
Oh, exactly. I think if I was in his situation, I would be super relieved. I'd be really happy, and honestly, I probably would have spoken to the IRS sooner. I'd been like, look, I stole this. It's not mine. Can you take it away from me? I couldn't have slept with that over my head, so I can only imagine how he's sleeping at the moment. He's probably sleeping like a baby.
Yeah, I think up to the time that BTCE was busted by the FBI, I'd imagine he's been alright. He's maybe thinking, you know what, I'll sell a bit here, sell a bit there, but I'll keep most of it. He's maybe got a plan for it. He's not too bothered. But the moment that exchange gets taken down, the moment he knows he can be linked to that wallet, then he knows his time is up. And I think, like you, I think the moment that the moment he realises that he could be in major, major trouble, because he knows that there could be a prison sentence hanging over him, and he knows it's going to be much better for him if he does that, if he admits it. And he also knows he can't... It's not like you can cash out a little bit and not do the rest. You either have to cash it all out or none of it, and he can't do any of it. So you may as well just give it up and try and get the best deal that you can. For obvious reasons, he's not named in anything. He's known as Individual X. We will never, I expect, never know who he is. But yeah, it's quite a story. And like you say, it's going to be auctioned off now. So there's going to be some point next year, there's going to be around $1 billion worth of Bitcoin being sold. And who knows, it's going to be, who's going to pick that up.
Just make sure you got a short placed for that, because that's going to kill the price. $1 billion of Bitcoin just floating around just appears.
Isn't that how... Is it Tim Draper? Isn't that how he got into Bitcoin? He bought loads at an auction back in the day.
Yeah, he bought something the FBI had confiscated and sold off. I think it would go down as a collector's item as well, so I think it might even be worth more than $1 billion. Because imagine, you own a piece of this story. Because that's the thing with Bitcoin. It's not a new note, is it?
No.
It's, that's the actual cryptocurrency that these people held. The people who are the pioneers of Bitcoin. It's like having, Blackbeard's iPad.
Yeah, it's like, owning a bit of Bitcoin history.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I mean, And I think that'll attract a lot of big investors, not because it's Bitcoin, because of the specific Bitcoin that it is.
Yeah.
You're buying a piece of Bitcoin history. It's not just any old Bitcoin.
You could have people coming in and buying like $1 million worth. You could have loads of people coming in and buying $1 million worth just to say they've got it.
Yeah, exactly. Just to say, oh, I've got Roth Ulbricht's stolen Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like, that is a story in itself.
Yeah, that is quite cool. The other thing that's interesting about this is that, bear in mind, this is $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. This is 69,000 Bitcoin. And yet there is still some 75% of the Silk Road Bitcoin out there.
Yeah, a lot of it is still like unknown and unaccounted for.
Which is insane, isn't it? You think everything they've recovered, everything that they know about, that only makes up a quarter of what was actually held on the site. And it links to this other thing, which is kind of a shame in terms of Bitcoin's price, that all the Bitcoin that is lost, that's been forgotten about, that's been destroyed by whatever means, if there was any way they could calculate what that number is, I'm sure I've read there's an estimate of something like a quarter of all Bitcoin is pretty much untouchable for various reasons. If there was any way they could, apply that to the blockchain, that would be amazing for the price.
Oh, it would be huge, yeah. Because you cut the total supply down, don't you?
Yeah. And it's a shame that they can't, because obviously a lot of it is known to be gone, but for obvious reasons they can't do it, just in case someone finds a password somewhere and it's gone forever. But it's kind of fascinating, all these tales of lost Bitcoin that's never going to be got back.
Oh, exactly. You read all these people who are mining in the early days. They had like 1,000 Bitcoin here and there on hard drives they just tossed out.
Yeah.
Like, it must be devastating if that was you.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting what it does to the potential market cap. It takes it down from like 21 million to maybe like 18.
Yeah.
So if you think Bitcoin is rare, it's more rare than you think.
So the US Treasury now has, well, who knows what would it be worth next year, but at the moment, $1.1 billion worth of Bitcoin to auction off. And you know what? If they've done it with this guy, they can do it to others. They may have other investigations going that we don't know about. So if there's other people out there that have hacked various exchanges over the years and think they've got away with it, they could have another thing coming. All this talk of wallets and Bitcoin storage has moved us nicely on. This is something of a trick question, Alex, but what is the best and safest way to store your cryptocurrency?
Is it an exchange?
It is not an exchange. What's your second answer?
I'm going to go with a hardware wallet.
I think you knew that already. And indeed, a hardware wallet, as we have said many times, is the perfect place to store your cryptocurrency. If you do not have a hardware wallet, we have fantastic news for you, because FullyCrypto are giving away a Trezor One hardware wallet.
Thanks to our friends at Pabis.
Yes, thank you to Pabis for kindly donating the Trezor One wallet to us. Now, of course, Trezor is one of the most recognised hardware wallet brands out there, so the chance of walking away with one of their top models for absolutely free is just something not to be missed. If you'd like to enter the competition to win our fantastic Trezor wallet, you can find all the entry details in our Twitter, Instagram and Facebook pages, or you can go through our website. It's a very easy competition to enter. You just have to do some nice following and retweeting and various social things for us. If you think you can manage that, then there's a Trezor One waiting to be won.
Yeah, it's going to take you a couple of seconds to do all of them. I mean, just clicking buttons, isn't it? It's just followers, retweet us, subscribe to this amazing podcast. It's just click, done.
All those lovely things that I'm sure you were going to do anyway, just to support FullyCrypto and to support the FullyCrypto podcast. But now you get to do it and a chance to win a hardware wallet as well. So you're not relying on dodgy exchanges that can get hacked left, right and centre.
Exactly. You're going to keep yourself safe and you're going to keep us happy.
So yeah, if you'd like to enter the FullyCrypto competition to win a Trezor One, just head over to our website or to our social media pages. All the details are there. So yeah, please enter and good luck.
Yeah, best of luck to each and every single one of you.
So I think that wraps things up for this week. On the subject of social media gubbins and doings, please give us a thumbs up, a like, or a poke if it's 2009, and subscribe to the FullyCrypto podcast on your platform of choice. We're on all the social medias at FullyCrypto, or you can visit the FullyCrypto website at
FullyCrypto.com.
FullyCrypto.com. Alex, lovely to speak to you once again. It's been far too long. We shall have to do this again much sooner.
Yeah, it's been amazing to actually hear you again. I've missed this. I've missed the fun we have on these calls. And we hope you've not missed us. Like, we are alive. We're fine. We're healthy.
Hopefully this is the start of a nice long run through till Christmas, which is not all that far away, actually.
Oh, we've got lots planned. We have so much planned for you guys.
It's going to be very, very exciting. So, yes. So, thank you once again for listening to the FullyCrypto Podcast, and we will speak to you again soon.
Yeah. Have an amazing weekend, guys. Bye.